Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Yachts here, and it's Wednesday morning, and the Raptors are playing the Nets today twice. Doubleheader today. The first game will start at 11 a.m. It's a school day game against the Long Island Nets. Raptors 905 playing their second to last game at around 11. So we're going to try and expedite the stream today and get it done in an hour and a half. So we'll see if we can do that. And then later, of course, the Raptors proper will play the Nets proper. Brooklyn Nets, Raptors, Barclays Center in New York tonight. And both teams are in a similar position. And this would be a very interesting game to see how the two teams and the coaches handle the situation. So, yeah, let's do the preview. We'll do all the regular stuff we do, latest lineup news, the ref report, and Reddit, react to Reddit. And I've even got my new segment ready and everything for today. Let's do it, Raptor Streaks. Let's go. I'm wearing purple today because it is Purple Day to cause awareness for epilepsy. Just so y'all know, Epilepsy Awareness Day is today, and it's Purple Day. So I'm wearing the purple hat in honor of that today, just so y'all know. And maybe just a little bit on the down low about, what the mission is tonight. A little bit on that. All right, first of all, let's look at our guys. Chris Boucher is still out for today's game, guys. Announced yesterday he is sick, but I did see him at the end of the bench in Washington on Monday night. So I guess he's sick, but he's too sick to play, but he is able to be around the team, and he's not contagious, which is good. But yeah, Chris is okay other than he's sick, and he will not be playing today, guys. So no Chris Boucher today. Grady Dick is ruled out for today still because of his knee. Emmanuel Quickly and Jakob Poeltl are out for rest once again. They're one wash on, wash off. Wash on, play off. And, they played on Monday against the Wizards, helped win. And now Quickly and Poeltl will sit for tonight against the Nets. I was actually looking at the schedule for the rest of the season. And if they do this pattern every other game with Poeltl and IQ like they have been doing recently, they will miss a bunch of games that are more important for losing. And the Nets are in a game for that. So think about it this way. They don't play today. That they play Friday against Charlotte, but then they don't play against Philly this weekend. That's what I'm talking about. It's like they're not going to play against Brooklyn and Philly. Well, those are the two teams that are real close to us in the standings. But maybe they'll play on Friday against the Hornets and we'll beat the Hornets. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. But Quick and Poeltl are out for today's game for sure. Rest. But RJ's back. I'll say that. Brandon Ingram is out, of course, and Shamshay is out also. So, yeah, RJ will be back from his illness recently. So we'll at least have Barrett and Barnes. And I'll speculate that our starting lineup today will be Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Oshai Abaji, RJ Barrett, and maybe Scotty Barnes. Seriously, I don't think they'll go big. I don't think they will. Maybe they'll take Abaji out, or not Abaji, Walter. They'll start Shed, Abaji, Barrett, Barnes, and Castleton or Robinson. I don't know. Castleton may not be on the team still. I've not heard official word that he has been re-signed to anything. So he may be off the team as of yesterday, guys, just so you know. We'll have to see what's going on with Colin. Nobody's talked about it. No Blake Murphy Blue Skies message or anything about it. So I have no idea what's going on with Colin Castleton. We may find out this morning during the Raptors 905 game. Maybe if Blake's in there, we can ask him, and he can tell us what's going on with Castleton. But I do want to know because his second 10-day contract has run out. The Raptors are getting a percentage in this game tonight to win, favored over the Nets. It is a 56% chance, according to ESPN, in the matchup predictor, 44% chance for the Nets to win. So 56 to 44 is the matchup predictor for ESPN for the Raptors. The Nets injuries are as such. If your name's Cam, you're out, is basically it. Cameron Johnson will not be playing today. He's on a rest game. So he's not really hurt. He's taking a rest game against us. Day'Ron Sharpe is also out. Scotty's friend Day'Ron will not be playing today due to a right knee sprain. And then Cam Thomas has been shut down for the rest of the season. Cam Thomas has a left hamstring injury, and he's been out for a while now for a couple games. and he will not be available for them. And in some ways, this is the two Cams are the two best players on this team. Of course, Ben Simmons is gone now. He's on the Clippers, I believe. So the starting lineup for the Nets, I'm predicting tonight will be D'Angelo Russell, Keon Johnson, Zaire Williams, the old pupil of Darko, Nicholas Claxton at center, and why don't we just say Noah Clowney at power forward for them. Also coming off the bench for this team, Tyrese Martin, Trendon Watford, Reese Beekman, Jalen Wilson, the good friend of Grady Dick. Let's see, Tyson Etienne, and Toussaint Evo Bwamwa. Yeah, they really listen, the Nets have had a team that's looked like generic player A, B, C, and D all season. And now they've traded a few guys out like Ben Simmons or just cut them. And they look even more generic as a team. And especially if they ain't got no Cams playing. I'm telling you. So the Nets are in a rough place. They've only won 2 games since like the beginning of February, guys. So they're really, really bad. And they're tanking on a hardcore way, man. You know, they are tanking in a hardcore way. Yeah, they're 2-16 in their last 18 games, y'all. 2-16. So they're losing like every which way right now. So I don't know. The will to lose. What is the will to lose? What is this NBA that we're watching now? The will to lose. Who's trying to lose this tonight? Both the teams, probably. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. Anyway, let's keep going. First of all, let's talk about the referees for our 11 o'clock game. At Raptors 905, Long Island at Raptors 905. Charles Watson is the crew chief, number 60. AJ Ganelli is the referee, number 62. And the umpire is Bobby Bazant, number 3. At number 58 is his number of jerseys. Bobby Bazant the third. There you go. So there's the crew for the Long Island Nets game. And who are the Long Island Nets? Well, they got a player that scored 50 the other day, and he looks like he's 40 years old. His name is Drew Timme. That's right. Drew Timme was briefly on the Raptors Summer League team for like a split second. Never really actually played for us. But yeah, he's tearing it up for Long Island Nets right now. He dropped a 50 piece this weekend in a G League game. So yeah, we're going to be watching for Drew Timme at 11 o'clock, run around for the Long Island Nets. Also, our old friend Kevin O'Banner is on this roster against us today. Mark Armstrong, Reese Beekman, Kendall Brown, Tyson Etienne, Toussaint Evo. That guy's actually here in town. I know I named him on the Nets roster. He's a two-way. And so is Etienne. Killian Hayes, of course, is one of the best players on the Long Island Nets. He's around. Jordan Minor, Terry Roberts, Trevon Scott, and Anthony Tark. That is the lineup for the Long Island Nets. At 11 a.m., they'll be playing the Raptors 905. So be ready for that. Let's do the refs for the big enchilada. The Raptors at the Brooklyn Nets. In the replay center tonight, it'll be Scott Twardowski and Sayash Mehta. We'll be watching from Secaucus. And in Brooklyn, our crew chief is the crew chief we've had so many times this year. This will be the 8th game that this man has refereed for us this season, and that is the family guy, Mark Lindsay. That's right. Mark Lindsay is our crew chief once again. It seems like we've had him every week, at least once. Mark Lindsay, 8th game that he's ref for us this year. He's by far the guy who's ref the most games for the Raptors this year. Mark Lindsay's number 29 in his 18th season out of Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. Of course, his favorite TV show is the one that stars Peter and Lois Griffin with their young son, Stewie, and his Ray Guns, Family Guy. He likes the movie Shawshank Redemption. He gets down to Dave Matthews Band. His favorite book is Can't Hurt Me. He listens to Apple Podcasts. He most like to go to a family trip to Italy and Rome, and his hidden talent is spelling. Mark Lindsay has officiated 969 regular season games and 37 playoff games in 17 seasons as an NBA staff official. He officiated the 2023 NBA All-Star Game in Salt Lake City. That was a shitty All-Star game, Mark Lindsay. That was a really bad All-Star game. That's not your fault, though, but that was one of the worst. Mark Lindsay is the best ref for the Raptors today, guys. Our record with him in 7 games is 3-4. So we've lost more than we've won with him this year. 3-4. We did lose the last game he refed. But the Nets, they only win 38% of their games. So 55 to 38 is the split. We win 55% of our games with Mark Lindsay. over his whole entire career, and the Nets win 38%. So 55-38 for the Raptors with the crew chief, Mark Lindsay. The second ref is another ref we've seen quite a bit recently. In fact, we just saw him last week, is Fennessy Ransom, number 70 out of Atlanta, Georgia, in his 7th season as a ref. His favorite TV show is 60 Minutes. He likes the movie Enter the Dragon. His favorite musician is the Foreign Exchange. He reads the Tao of Abundance. His favorite meal is hibachi chicken and shrimp. He uses Shazam as his favorite app. He'd most like to visit Cairo, Egypt. His bucket list is to learn how to play the piano, and his hidden talent is public speaking. Fennessy Ransom has officiated 247 regular season games in 6 seasons as an NBA staff official. Yeah, we just saw Fennessy last week. We did lose in the game that he reffed last week. We win 50% of our games exactly. It's right down the middle with him. Wins and losses even. This season, we're 3-3 with him. So we've had 6 games with Fennessy so far this year, and we're 3-3 for the season. Now, he's very favorable towards the Nets, though, guys. They have a 61% winning percentage in the 7 years that Fennessy Ransom has been reffing. So they actually are favored with the second ref Ransom. 50-61 is the split for the Nets with Fennessy. So 50% to 61%. The last ref we saw in the last month, only once. He's only ref 1 game this year, and that's Jonathan Sterling, number 17, 8th season out of Hampton, Virginia. Of course, he is the husband. His favorite TV show is Chappelle's Show. His favorite movie is Coming to America. He listens to Drake. His favorite app is Maps. He'd most like to visit Australia. His bucket list is to dive with the Sharks. And his hidden talent is breakdancing. Jonathan Sterling has officiated 308 regular season games in 7 seasons as an NBA staff official. He also worked the Rising Stars competitions and All-Star Saturday night events at NBA All-Star 2022 in Cleveland. There you go. Jonathan Sterling, of course, is married to Lauren Holtkamp Sterling, the female ref in the league. Now, Jonathan is the worst ref for the Raptors today. We had him once this year. We lost. Our win percentage in his career is 41%. And, the Nets win 39%. So they're less. So he is favoring us statistically. 41-39 is the split for the Raptors with Jonathan Sterling. So 2 refs favoring us. Fennessy favors the Nets. So, yeah, that's the ref crew. It's pretty solid. I'd say that Ransom and Lindsay have been very fair this season. Jonathan Sterling has a proclivity not to like the Raptors. So we'll have to see what happens with him. Of course, he's the 3rd ref, and he probably won't matter as much as Mark Lindsay. And we'll see what Ransom's like, too. So, yeah, there's your ref crew. It's not a bad ref crew. Mark Lindsay is very fair. He's given us good chances and shakes. But then again, what are we trying to do today? What is this game going to look like by the time 9:30 comes around as far as personnel who's out there and what the goals are as far as in the game? Well, we'll have to see. We'll be open for anything. Darko will be riding the wave of the game like on a surfboard. And, well, if the game goes a certain way, he'll do a certain thing. If the game goes a certain way, he'll do a certain thing also. So it's important for him to be reactive to the game situation instead of trying to dictate what the game's going to be, because we don't know. We could have the Raptors come out there and play at a high level. We could have the Raptors come out there and crap the bed. And we'll just have to see what he decides with personnel and rotation decisions by the end of the 4th quarter. And that's the big thing with the Raptors right now, with not putting their best foot forward. We'll have to see. Daniel Barry's first in today. All right, Daniel Barry. Yo, Daniel Barry, sports highlights. Y'all want to watch sports highlights? Go to Daniel Barry. Sports highlights. That's right. Trevor J., Commissioner Fun, in here second. He's saying, pray every day until your situation changes. Miracles happen every day, so never stop believing God can change things very quickly in your life. I love that. Well, I pray not for myself. I pray for all of us at this point. And I just hope that, goodness and humanity and kindness and love and humility can win out over arrogance and power that is unchecked, and just fascism and racism and sexism and just disgusting robber barons modern day robber barons that live in our age right now. Yeah, I hope we can have some big turnarounds. I'll pray for it every day. So I don't want to pray for myself. I want to pray for all of us, is what I'm doing these days. Trevor, thank you for your words of wisdom. I appreciate you. DK's here to let us know what's up with the win streak, y'all. Raptors versus Nets game preview, 7:30 p.m. There you go. Thanks for the game time. Is 7:30 tonight. So let's see the Raptors versus the Nets at 11 a.m. and then we'll see it at 7:30 also. Yeah, so be ready for a school day game. I'm not sure if the game's at Paramount or at Scotiabank Arena, but this is the second last G League game for the Raptors 905. They'll play today, and then they'll play Saturday, and then the season's over. They're done. Jared Rhoden is with the 905, not in Brooklyn, but AJ Lawson is in Brooklyn with the team and will be playing for the Raptors tonight. Meanwhile, Rhoden will be playing for Raptors 905. Just a little tip on that real quick. Trevor's saying Lillard's blood clots in his legs. Bucks' chance of getting in the playoffs, far in the playoffs. Oh, man, you wrote this crazy. Don't look good for them right now. Yeah, this is not good, man. And this trend of players getting blood clot issues lately is scary because these kind of things have taken people's years from their career. Ask Chris Bosh. Yeah, this is scary. I mean, the thing with Koloko, we kind of went through it with him, and now we're hearing things about different people like Wemby, Dame Lillard, one of the Thompson twins. These guys are all having blood clot problems, and I wonder what's going on with this. This is not a good trend. Maybe the health is just uncovering stuff better. I don't know. Maybe there were issues with this stuff more than we knew. It's just that it was all stuff that was just not going under the radar. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is not good for the Bucks and their playoff run. This is not good at all. Lillard's had such a weird career, man. Like in some ways, it's like he's toiled and spoiled away in Portland for most of his career. Became like the franchise guy. He ruined that. He just dumped all over it by whining and crying to get out. Then he went to Milwaukee and he found out the green grass in Milwaukee, the Milwaukee green color, is not as green as he thought. And his life in this first year of the Milwaukee Bucks was pure hell. And in fact, the team was not good and they were dismal, disappointing failure. This year, they're actually good. This year, they won the in-season tournament. And now, just before they get to the playoffs, he's going to get this medical news. Man, what a cruel world we live in for Damian Lillard in some ways. It's like this man can't catch a break in some ways because like now you're finally on a good chance to run in the playoffs with Kyle Kuzma added to your team mid-season. And now you're not going to be there probably. That's scary. That sucks. I feel bad for him. Even though he was an asshole on his way out of Portland. He was an asshole on his way out of Portland. Trevor's saying, let's get another W tonight. All right, Trevor. Hold down. Calm down now. Calm down, Trevor. I don't know if that's what we're trying to do, but if it is, I'm with you. If we get that W, I'll be very happy. I'll be very, very happy. I want the Raptors to get past 25 wins for the season. And if they do that tonight, I won't be upset. But a lot of people might be if they do win tonight. We just know that. And, you know, in some ways, like I said, if there's a game we're going to tank, if we're going to try and lose, the games against the Nets and the Sixers are the ones, you know? Now, last year, we did not win against any Atlantic Division teams hardly at all. We got to win against the Nets late in the season, but we got swept by the Sixers, the Knicks, and the Celtics last year. And in some ways, we wanted to kind of do better in the Atlantic Division this year, but we're in a cruel situation where it's like if we do better, it's not going to help us with the draft at this point. I mean, I love the idea of sweeping the Philadelphia 76ers for the season on Saturday, which could happen. But in some ways, it's not befitting what we really need to do right now, which is crazy. Now, right now, we're up 2-1. We're up. I think it's 1-1 with the Nets right now. Let me just look at that real quick. I got to remember what our record is with the Nets at this point in time. I believe we are. We're 1-1 with them for the season. So they've won one and we've won one. And we play them 2 more times. We play them today and then we play them on the 6th of April. So we're even 1-1 in the season series with the Nets. Now, in some ways, it's like go ahead and lose the season series to the Nets for the ping pong balls, Lex. Man, but in some ways, I kind of want to beat the Nets for the season. It's like, either one, it'll be good. Whatever we do, I'll play up each other, whichever side happens. But I know a lot of y'all, some of y'all are not wanting to win tonight. That's right. That's right. James is saying easy win tonight. Probably. I mean, their personnel is not as talented as us. Like in some ways, some of these tanking games or games that we've had recently, the other team's been more talented, putting players out there that are more talented than us. Golden State. In some ways, you could say the Spurs game on Sunday was like that, even though we did have Scotty out there. That's the thing. In some ways, we are definitely going to have the more talented team tonight. And man, that's going to make it tough to lose, I think, in some ways. Trevor's saying SGA is 665. What? Straight 65 straight 20-plus point games is one of 4 players in NBA history to record such a streak in a single season. So SGA has scored at least 20 points in 65 straight games. That's amazing. That's an incredible feat. No lie. Seriously, that is really, really good. Amazing. Good job, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Wow. Wow. Good little factoid there. Reggie's saying Brooklyn's going to throw this game. Be prepared for some terrible basketball. The Nets want the 4th pick badly. Yeah, I think you're right, Reggie. I think you're right. It's more likely that they're going to try some shenanigans. I mean, look at their roster. I just named their players. It's not like they got anybody that's that good. And it sounds like they sent all their good two-ways down, too. So they're really scraping the ball in the barrel, what they got on their team right now. Smooth saying, how much of these improved play with the Raptors has to do with development or just because the other team wants to lose more? I've been wondering about that. This is a very valid and good question by Reggie. Even if it's kind of like hard to answer, it's hard to answer definitively. I would say this. The thing about with our philosophy is we can't control what the other team's going to do, whether they're pulling punches and not trying their best, whether they don't play certain players, where certain players are hurt, all that kind of stuff we can't control. And the philosophy of the Raptors has been we worry about what we're doing. We worry about how we do it. And we worry about whether we're doing it right. And that's what they've been doing. In some ways, they can't control what the other team's going to do to manipulate things. But Darko is demanding the team hold a certain level of excellence and execution as far as going all out, playing hard, even if we're in this weird mode right now. And even if other teams aren't playing their full. I get what you're saying. It is hard to gauge. Now, I would say this. In the variance of opponents that we've had in the last couple of weeks, there have been teams that have been very high level, humming along at a very, very good play, and that like the Warriors last week, and we played them toe-to-toe, and we did very well. That may be the best litmus test for gauging this, Reggie, is let's think about us playing a very talented Hall of Famer-laden team, the Golden State Warriors last week, and how did we handle that, and how did we compete? And that is probably the best kind of window to what's going on with us, better than a win over the Wizards on Monday, which you're right. Exactly. That's not the best talent. How do you gauge whether we're doing things or is just the talent sucks? Well, look at the games that were tougher that we played against tough teams and whether we hung with them. And that Warriors game, that's one of them. I mean, you could look at the Suns game route and say, okay, that was bad. That was a route. That's not good. Well, we didn't hang well with them that day. You got to look at those kind of opponents right now. The only game for the rest of the season that may be a good test for this is the Pistons. When Detroit comes to Toronto and plays us the last time for the season, that may be the most best gauge for really kind of what we're doing right now because they're playing at a high level and they've been winning a lot and they're going to playoffs. They have a playoff proper spot, not even in the play-in. So, yeah, I mean, this is a really good question. And it's tough because you're right. In some ways, we're not seeing the best from other teams in a lot of these games recently. So how the hell do we really know whether these guys are actually playing at a very high level if they're playing almost a glorified G League team on the other side? Yeah, this is a valid question. Well, the thing is, we got to go by what we got. And like Darko says, worry about what we do it right. And going to the summer league, same thing. We got to do what we do it right and try and win. And then preseason, training camp, yeah, and then regular season next year with a clean slate, going against top teams, I'm sure, right away at the beginning of the year, we'll get those tests then. and we'll see. And hopefully by then we'll have Brandon Ingram in the lineup, and we'll see what's up. So, man, this is a very good question, and it is totally a conundrum right now as far as like, well, what are we? Are we actually that good, or are the team's really that bad? That's probably, yeah, that's tough, man. Super fan Mo's here. Good to see Monique Lawrence. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Happy game day. Let's see what today brings. Go Raptors. There you go. Let's go, Mo. Let's go and beat the Nets and Barclays Center. That's the only thing that Mo wants. Mo doesn't want no tankathon, mess around, like see if we can get lower than them. No, she just wants to outright beat them. And I think that might happen tonight. I think that will in some ways. These are crucial games, and Tank Nation's watching very closely, because if they see the Raptors W tonight, they're going to be whining and crying and being like, why did we do this? We're supposed to lose so we can go past them. Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Monique, Reggie saying Alfonso Davis out for several months, torn ACL. Hopefully he's back for World Cup. I don't even know who that is. I have no idea who that name is at all. That's a soccer player? Yeah, I don't know. In some ways, you're talking like a Greek to me on that one. Some people are saying that, and this is something that should be strongly considered. The World Cup's coming up, and it's here in North America, and they're going to have games here in Canada, in Mexico, and in the United States. But some people are saying that this is a great opportunity for political statements to be made in boycotting United States events against the Trump administration. I agree with this. I think that also there's a very high likelihood that the Olympics in LA are going to be boycotted, just like in the 80s when people boycotted the Olympics then in LA. Seriously, there was a Russian Olympics, and at one point, and a lot of people boycotted that. So I think there's going to be a lot of boycotting of the Olympics being held in the United States because of the bullshit that's going on with their democracy turning into fascism. And that may happen preliminarily through the World Cup first. So that's the only thing I care about with that soccer tournament. I don't give a shit about soccer. I care about whether people can boycott the United States World Cup events because of their bullshit that's going on politically right now. And I say that this is going to happen. This is going to happen. There's going to be quite a few countries that are not going to show up in LA for the Olympics when they have it in LA. Watch, seriously. And one of those countries may even be ours. Trust me. Seriously, guys. I could see this. Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. Alfonso Davis. I have no idea. Does that guy play for Canada? Is World Cup even like nations? I don't even know what World Cup is. I don't watch soccer. Is it nations or is it country? Is it countries against each other, or is it going to be like club teams? I have no idea. I don't care. Stargate saying Cam Thomas is actually legitimately injured. That one isn't for tanking situation, left outlet. Yeah, I know Cam Thomas is injured, but Cam Johnson is not. He's on rest, just like Jakob and Emmanuel tonight. So yeah, Cameron Johnson, their best player, the guy who was the closest to being an all-star this year, is not going to be playing tonight. They don't have Dennis no more. They don't have Ben Simmons no more. They're a weird team, man. They're a very weird team. Most saying, hope you're right, James. Even though many want us to lose, it's stupid. Yeah. I mean, it's not totally stupid, Mo, but it's stupid to us because of our mentality about we want the Raptors to win. But in some ways, it's not stupid. In some ways, it'd be smart to lose to the Nets tonight. I know that's sacrilegious, what I just said, but it's not totally stupid. In some ways, it's smart if we lose, just so you know. The Trevor's saying Oklahoma City 60-game win. They've won 60 games this season. That's fantastic. They have the best record in the league. They passed Cleveland at some point. And like I said, they've only lost one game this whole entire season to the Eastern Conference of the NBA. That is fantastic. And if they continue that all the way through the season, they'll break a record for that, because the best any team has done against the other conference is only lost 3 times. So if they only lose once, that's breaking a record, and amazing stuff for Oklahoma City Thunder this year. Yeah, Nako's saying blood clots has to have affected Koloko's level of play. You've watched him on the Lakers, and he's not playing like you think he should because you think that that the blood clots have gotten in the way. Man, that's scary. That's no good. I think what's gotten him in the way is that he stopped getting good development when he went to LA. That's what's gotten in the way. And he went to somewhere dysfunctional, somewhere that's probably not good for his career or his mentality, honestly. That's what I think it is right there. Smooth saying, any news on Colin Castleton? Well, let me go look at Blue Skies where I could get my breaking news from Blake Murphy. And no, there's nothing up yet. So we don't know for sure. He is not shown on our roster right now on ESPN. So it could very well be that nothing's happened with him. It could very well be we hear something announced today. Either way, we should be having a new player or him for the rest of the season announced this afternoon. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't know if he's sticking around. They may have seen enough in 20 days of him that they understand, and they may circle back to him next year, but they may not continue with him for the rest of the season, just so you know. Randolph's here. Game day blessings. Beloved Raptors freaks, most informative gang. Do not take life, its gifts and opportunities for granted. Make the best of each living moment. Tomorrow is not promised. Yeah, nothing's promised in a weird-ass world where fascism is growing and racism and sexism and misogynism and white supremacy is on the rise and all kinds of bullshit is going on because of some fucking Nazis running the U.S. government right now. Yeah, nothing's promised in tomorrow, no. So live your life today. Thank you, Randolph. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. Thank you, Randolph, for being here. Steady attendance by Randolph. We love Randolph. Fiercey saying, good morning, fam, and happy game day. Good morning to you, MJ. Always happy to see Fiercey Salsera in the stream in the morning. Screw it. Let's sweep the Sixers. Laugh out loud. I'm with you on that. I want to sweep them on Saturday. Or is it Saturday? It's either Saturday or Sunday we're playing, though. We will play the Sixers this weekend. And, yeah, that'll be the last game against them for the year. And if we complete the sweep, I'm not against that. We're 3-0 against them for the year. Nick Nurse and them are tank artists right now, and they really are understanding how to lose to people. They've been losing left and right, everybody. In some ways, they've gotten real good at it. That's right. That's right. No word on no word. Yeah, most saying no word on Castleton yet. We have not. I watched Raptors Delight last night, the last chapter, and we will react to that in just a little bit. Nako saying Tobias Harris was on the Sixers last year. They were a playoff team. Detroit got Tobias this year. Tobias Harris guarantees you the playoffs. I don't know if it's that simple, but this is something I've been saying the whole season, Gerald, that Tobias Harris on the down low is his absence from the Sixers is extremely hurt them. That them tanking and being so bad this year is not just because of injuries that they've had to deal with all year, but also the missing glue player that Tobias Harris was for the Sixers for many years. Sixers fans hated him on their team because they thought he was overpaid. Well, that man was doing a bunch of stuff y'all didn't even realize, and that stuff's gone to Detroit, and now he's doing it for them, and it's helping them win. This is something I said like in November of this season. I said Tobias Harris leaving the Sixers on the down low has really hurt them, and it's very much helped the Pistons. That's for sure. Yeah, Benny Hill show tonight. Benny Hill, man. Yeah. Bringing up the Benny Hill. My grandfather would be so happy and proud that I just did the Benny Hill song right now. Yeah, he loved Benny Hill. He did. Smooth saying, I keep hearing about that center from Duke. I really hope he's around at 7. Yeah, Common? Yeah, I hope he's around too. We'll see what happens. I trust in Bobby and Masai, and they're going to make the best decision, whichever position we pick in. There's nothing set in stone yet. We don't know where we're picking. It's somewhere in the top 10, I'm sure of, but I don't know exactly where it's going to be. We're going to have to find out in May. It's not even anytime soon. We're going to find out for sure. That's right. Stargate saying, I can see the Nets eyeing someone like VJ from Baylor. Yeah, I can see that too. I can see that. You know, that may be like, because, you know, they've got good bigs on the Nets. They got Claxton. He's the only player that Jordy really wanted to keep around for sure. And, you know, Clowney is a nice project coming up. So they have pretty good big projects. So it may be that they do want to get a very talented guard like VJ Edgecombe. I could see that. That sounds about right. If they can't get in the top 3 and get one of those guys. Trevor J saying Miami beat the Warriors last night. That's interesting to me. That is very interesting to me. All right. Miami Heat been losing like crazy, plummeting in the standings. Looking scarily like they might fall out of the play-in, but nah, we won't let them because we would be the ones jumping in. We're not trying to do that. Uh, Miami, though, have one good game where they're going to try and beat somebody. Is Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy Butler came back to Miami last night and got the boos from the crowd. Every single time he touched the ball, the Miami Heat fans let him hear it. And in some ways, Jimmy in the press said, I just have nothing but appreciation for Miami and gratitude for what they did for me. So he's turning the other cheek. He's trying to be the bigger man, but obviously he's a villain there. And well, his teammates obviously wanted to show something to him also, pissed off at him, all the losing they've done. And they rose to the occasion and kicked the Curryless Warriors' ass last night. They really beat the shit out of them. And that was Bam and Tyler. They really did come back at their old teammate, Jimmy, with force and want to teach him a lesson. And in some ways, that's cathartic for the Miami Heat fan base and the people that were in attendance to be there to see their team kick the shit out of Jimmy Butler and the Warriors last night in that arena. They ain't won hardly nothing. They've lost like 10 games straight. And then they're like, oh, it's the Warriors and Jimmy Butler. Yeah, we're going to win this one. That's what happened right there. No Steph, no win. Okay. Yeah, I don't even know if it's Steph Curry. I think if he could have been playing, and that team was going to try and beat the Warriors' ass no matter what. Because in some ways, Spoelstra and those guys that are still on that team, like Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, they had something for Jimmy. Oh yeah, they did. Well, he's really screwed up their season. And these professional basketball players ain't trying to mess around with their lives and waste time. And well, Jimmy Butler was wasting the Miami Heat's time this year. So they had to pay him back and beat his ass last night. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying that smooth. Has the lottery happened? Do the Raptors have the 7th pick? We have no idea yet. We have no idea which pick it's going to be. It could be a little higher. It could be a little lower. We're just going to have to go with the flow. We're just going to have to go with the flow. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Jimmy's saying, Jimmy Pope, good to see the Pope of positivity. Man, I've been watching Common, and I really like him. So much, in fact, if we get a top 4 pick, I would genuinely not be upset if we trade down, maybe even be in favor of it. I would say this, if we get a top 4 pick or we're in the 4th pick, just pick him. Just get it done. Don't even worry about trading up or down. Don't mess with that shit. Just go ahead and grab him at the 4th pick. There's nothing wrong with that. I put a premium on size, and if he's like that, and he's that kind of project, I don't get upset if he jumps ahead of a couple smaller players that are supposedly better in the draft, like Edgecombe, who won the game this weekend, Baylor and Duke. That's right. And Common had a better game than VJ Edgecombe in a lot of ways in that game. So I'm just saying, I don't care about trading down. If you get that pick and that around that area, go ahead and just take him and maybe reach a couple spots above what people are saying where he should be. That's what I say right there. Not going to say Orlando's in the play-in, right? I wouldn't expect Detroit to be better than Orlando at the start of the year. Yeah, Orlando's in the play-in, but Detroit's a playoff team. And I agree. Orlando has some flaws, some major flaws. And what we saw on the Orlando team, which was crazy because they had Franz and Paulo, it was funny to me because it's like, look, I thought Orlando was on the rise in a certain kind of way, especially with some of the superstars they've been adding to their team. But they have huge fundamental flaws to their team, and they're in big trouble. And next year, I don't expect them to compete. And they may be a team that's looking on the outside inside from the outside because from the playoffs. They could be the team that gets bumped out of the whole playoff picture because the Raptors are coming up to take their rightful spot in the playoff picture because I don't have any confidence in them. They have some serious fundamental problems right now. Very, very fundamental problems. Smooth saying Davies is the face of Canada's soccer. Okay, I have no idea. I don't follow soccer. He plays for a big German club. He's considered a top 10 to 15 player in the world. If he were to rejoin the MLS, he would be the 1 or 2 best player in that league. Wow. Okay, well, I apologize for not knowing the name or not knowing anything about soccer. I may know about Pele, and that's it, man. David Beckham, I know about him. Alexi Lawless, and that's only because he had the same name as me. These are like this is my soccer knowledge right here. Those are the 3 soccer players I know. Pele. Oh, isn't there a guy named Desario or something that played for the TFC or something? That's all I know, man. I don't know jack shit about soccer. I really don't. And I apologize to Alphonso Davies' family for not knowing jack shit about him or caring. Honestly, I don't care about soccer either. I really don't. I know that soccer is important to most of the world, but not to the Raptors freak. The Raptors freak is just solely on the B-ball. I don't give a shit about football. I don't give a shit about football from any country. whether it's American football or around the world football. I don't give a shit about it. And in some ways, I don't give a shit about hockey either. I don't give a shit about baseball except for the Blue Jays. I just don't give a shit. I give a shit about the Raptors. That's it right there. Yeah, that's it. MLS is Major League Soccer. Yeah. The TF season. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Blackhawks saying just to tie with Brooklyn, we would have to lose every game from now to the end of the season. That is rough. Yeah, I don't even know if we want to do that. I mean, seriously. And we have to wait for them to win some games. And I don't know. See, that's the thing. Once a team gets below you in the standings and you got to try and catch up, if they have more losing going on and they don't have as many wins as you, and you got to wait for them to get some W's to catch up, I'm telling you, in some ways, it's out of your destiny. It's out of your hands. And well, that's why Stankies are so mad, is because we allowed them, both those teams, to get below us. But it's like, what did we allow? We just played our games and we had won games that we needed to win and that we did win. Some Stank fans are talking about how us beating the Orlando Magic 2 games in a row was where we screwed up, that we shouldn't have won those 2 games against the Magic. And that is where we absolutely screwed up. But I don't agree with that. I'm glad we beat the Magic when we beat them. That's right. Yeah, they're pointing to that moment. They're like, we should have never beat Magic 2 games in a row like that. That's where we messed up our tank. It's so dumb. I don't even know why I go and look at what these people are saying. I really don't. They're idiots. They really are. Let's see. Nako's saying, wouldn't be mad if we took Common fourth. Yeah, see, I don't think that that's a reach. I don't think that's that bad. They're putting VJ in there at the 4th spot. But honestly, I think that with size and the potential of Common, that's not a reach to draft him at 4th. That's not a reach if we did get 4th. Monique is saying, congratulations, IQ, on launching your family foundation yesterday. Great quick interview with Lindsey Dunn. Yeah, IQ is busy in the last few days with family stuff, obviously in Maryland with all the family members and seeing people. He also did a press conference for his elite team. He's recruiting for his IQ elite squad for basketball league, and he went and did some events for that. And then he did also a press conference for his family foundation and some of the stuff he's trying to do. He said in his press conference that this is something that if I had had the ability to use, this would have been very useful for me when I was young. And in some ways, that's why I wanted to do this, because, man, I would have loved somebody to do this for me when I was younger, is IQ's quote on that. Yeah, yeah. Stargate saying Alphonso Davies is Team Canada's soccer's best player. Yeah, see, I'm sorry. I'm ignorant. This really shows the flaws and the holes in my sports knowledge when I don't give a fuck about soccer. I really don't. I apologize. I hope I don't lose respect to y'all. But in some ways, there's if my head is a CPU, there's a certain amount of memory that's being held up by Raptors everything. And there's no space in the disk for soccer knowledge. I'm sorry, guys. There's no space. There's no space. Fiercely saying, Claxton, it's okay for you to act a fool tonight and be ejected. Yeah, you're alluding to the game where he threw the ball into the crowd against us. I think that was last year even. That wasn't even this year. Yeah, I don't know what Nicholas Claxton's going to do tonight. He's a good player. He may be their best player for them tonight. If he gets thrown out, I guess that helps us, I guess. But in some ways, Tank Nation will be mad. So he's saying Davies played for Vancouver Whitecaps for 1 year before going over to Germany. Okay. Maybe the money's better over in Europe. That's why. G saying he is the best player in Canada, followed by Jonathan David. It's good to know these names, even if not a soccer fan, in my opinion, because it will be a big deal in a few years versus USA. Canada is rising in soccer. All right. This is good advice. I trust G. G's a very, very smart person. And you know what? All right, guys. Y'all are shaming me for my lack of knowledge of Alphonso Davies. It's just, once again, the other sports are not my wheelhouse. I used to know a lot about the NFL. I used to know a lot about the NHL. I used to know a lot about Major League Baseball. I used to cover all 4 sports equally, and I was completely knowledgeable on all players in all sports, but that just all went out the window, partly because of Kaepernick. And then I was just like, baseball fantasy season just takes too fucking long. It's annoying, and it's a really labor intensive. Like, you think the basketball fantasy is a lot of work? Try and do baseball fantasy. That is crazy, because you have catchers that don't play half the time, and you have to watch when pitchers get scratched and different guys come in, and just getting your lineups and your minimum plays in for each position is very, very difficult. You have to stay on top of your team every single day. So I quit playing all the different fantasy sports, and that's when my knowledge of those leagues went out the window. I was playing NHL too, and I knew all the NHL players for a while too. This is all like 10, 15 years ago though. I'm out of it. I don't know the players in the league at this point. Let's see. Jimmy's saying any way we can hurt Philly, and I'm down for it. And to do that, we need to lose, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, I guess. I don't know. In some ways, I get why you want to do this because you don't want Philly to protect their pick and you want to see them in our spot because if they're in that spot, they lose their pick. It's only if they're in the sixth and above that they get to keep their pick from Oklahoma City. So this is something, Monique, that some of the Raptors fans are vindictive against the Sixers, and they know if we lose, we hurt the Sixers. So that's part of the reason why these people are doing this, Monique, is partly because they don't like the Sixers, like Jimmy here, and he wants them to be punished. And in some ways, that's why we need to be below them in the standings so that they lose their pick to Oklahoma City Thunder. And that's a very interesting idea. Yeah. Blackhawks saying if the Sixers go through all the losing just to end up with the seventh or higher after the lottery, it will be hilarious. See, they want to see this comedy. They want that Benny Hill song playing for the Sixers and their tragedy. And just have a crazy Joel Embiid run around with really fast and high speed. Yeah, but not really that fast because his knee hurts. Yeah, I mean that's part of it right there. It's punitive. It's a grudge. It's just we don't like them and we want to hurt them. And in some ways, losing hurts them. These guys are right, man. And that would be hilarious. In some ways, then there would be a lot of talk about how, wow, the Sixers are such a failure. Such a failure. I get it. I get it. Randolph saying, Lex, I feel like the chances of a top draft pick may save Nurse's job. That has covered up a failed year. I get what you're saying. That's another reason maybe why some of the Raptors fans don't want them to get their pick. I mean, that may be true that Nick's job may be saved, but I don't know. You know what? I'm getting tells from Nick Nurse that he's checked out and he doesn't want to coach the Sixers. That in some ways he checked out just like he checked out on us his last season on the Sixers this year. And it's just fatigue and just like he's been coaching straight for like 15 years almost. He hasn't taken any time off. He was an assistant coach for us for 5 years. Then he coached our team for 5 years. Now he's coached the Sixers for another 2 years. And he hasn't stopped for like 12 years straight going full out. And it's intensified every time. You know, going from assistant coach to head coach of the Raptors, that intensified all of a sudden. And since he's been the head coach of the Raptors, he's been going strong and crazy for 7 years straight. That man's tired and he's sick of the bullshit. And in some ways you could tell that, it may not even be their decision if he wants to stay. He may just decide, I'm quitting, y'all. I'm leaving. I don't want to do this shit anymore. I hate Joel Embiid. I'm leaving. I never liked him. I acted like I liked him, but I never really did like him this whole time, guys. And I'm out. I could see this because in some ways Nick's energy is like this. He's checked out. And he doesn't give a shit right now. But that could be interesting to see what happens there. Blackhawks saying Benny Hill was the bomb. Yeah, some people were talking about this on a podcast I was listening to recently, that Benny Hill was not actually misogynist or like male chauvinist because, all right, the example that was brought up was Monty Python. And that, in Monty Python's Flying Circus, Carol Cleveland was kind of like this blonde bombshell who was very sexual. And they were very kind of skeevy and pervy with her. In some of the sketches, there was like the marriage counselor one where the marriage counselor is talking to Michael Palin. It's Eric Idle. And he starts just coming on to his wife in the middle of the scene and like just like has sex with her in front of him and stuff like it's crazy. But in Benny Hill, they're saying that Benny Hill wasn't really like Monty Python. Monty Python was kind of toxic masculinity. But Benny Hill and all the sketches, the women were chasing Benny. And Benny wasn't really being the pervert or like the weird, like, gross man like towards the women. It was the women were in lust of Benny and they were chasing him everywhere. I don't know. Somebody pointed that out the other day and I was like, you know what? That's kind of true. And they're trying to say that Benny Hill wasn't really bad for women, that he empowered women. instead of like, that was their whole argument. It's kind of weird. Nako saying Blackhawk, has who has the Sixers pick. Yeah, we know it's the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's right. Oklahoma City has it. That's right. Oklahoma City will probably bargain the pick for multiple picks. So you're saying they'll turn around, trade a high pick for multiple picks just because Sam Presti loves having a farm of tiny picks all over drafts for like the next 20 years. I mean, I get it. I get what y'all are saying. Most saying, I'll say this about Raptors Delight. The debate between Grote is easy. Kyle, that robot guy was weird. Yeah. All right. We're going to talk about Raptors Delight right now. I'll give my little synopsis of how I feel about Raptors Tonight, part 4, the championship episode that came out on Monday night. I watched it last night, finally. I'll talk about the good or the bad. We'll start with the bad. I still hate the narrator. I think he's condescending. In some ways, we don't need to be taught who Greg Popovich is. Hello? You idiot. You're like, this is Greg Popovich. I'm like, motherfucker, we are Raptors fans. We know who Greg Popovich is. Most people in this world know who Greg Popovich is, even if they're not basketball fans. And I'm just saying, it's like, do you need to tell us that? It's like you're mansplaining to all of us, like who these fucking people are. And you're like, little bit, and we'll get back to this. And we'll talk about this. I don't need any of this shit. You could just tell the story without this narrator guy. That show would have been so much better. You could have just told the story with a regular announcer and not some, somebody who's kind of like me. We don't need no cheeky bullshit. Just tell the story in a very respectful, reverent way instead of having some condescending little asshole who's saying, and by the way, this is Greg Popovich. We know who the fuck Greg Popovich is, you dumbass. Like, you need to explain that. I even know who R.C. Buford is, you dumbass. And then, like, the way he explains everything is so condescending and stupid. I understand maybe they tried to make this show for a beginner that doesn't have any idea who the Raptors is, but who the fuck is that target audience? Seriously. You know who's fucking watching this Raptors Delight bullshit? It's Raptors fans. So why the fuck do you got to act like we're 5 years old and explain everything to us like we're stupid? It's so dumb. I hate that part. And then, of course, why did they do this? I have no idea why they fucking dragged out Bleacher Report's Game of Zones for this episode. We don't need to see this shit. Why do you need to put that shit in front of us? In some ways, that was your trolling ass shit because that show trolled our team the whole fucking time. You're going to put Kyle Lowry getting woken up. They traded him, Kyle, Norman Powell, and then they come out there. And then you even put on display that whole part where they fuck around with Jakob's name. Was that necessary for this episode in any kind of way? No, it wasn't. And in some ways, you're insulting our great Austrian center who's currently playing for us right now and is kicking a lot of ass. So nobody needs that Jakob Poeltl bullshit that you're fucking showing from the Game of Zone show that's absolutely Raptor hater. So you align yourself with Bleacher Report and Game of Zones and their fucking trolling ass piece of shit garbage that they made, and you put it on your show. You just showed exactly where your energy's coming from. That's what lines up with it, with that bullshit. So yeah, you put fucking Game of Zones on there, a fucking cowardly, stupid ass fucking series that didn't have the fucking guts to do the fucking championship for the Raptors. They just gave up on their series because the Raptors won the championship and they didn't know how to write the rest of the story after that, you fucking dumbasses. So I just say, Bleacher Report, Rogers, Sportsnet, 2-finger salute for both of y'all for collaborating together on Raptors Delight episode 4, that bullshit. You didn't need to put Bleacher Report's bullshit on that episode. There's no point in putting that cartoon bullshit up there because those fucking cowards didn't have the balls to make the proper episode where the Raptors won the championship and tell the proper story of what the fuck actually happened. So do not play some Nets fans fucking bullshit Game of Zones on a Raptors documentary, you dumbass motherfuckers at Sportsnet. Why would you do that? You're so stupid. It made your shit look juvenile. It made your shit look second class. It made your shit look like you're copying off other people with your bullshit. I mean, you put all kinds of that kind of bullshit throughout the whole 4-part series of your dumbass Dark Side of the Raptors bullshit. And then, of course, the treatment of the championship and all that stuff. He's going to talk about all the dark side shit, talking about Kyle Lowry this, pissed off about that. Michael Grange gets more shots in on Kyle Lowry for being ornery in the press. Yeah, fuck you, Michael. You deserve Kyle being a bitch asshole to you, fuckface. Yeah, Y'all coming at him with his questions about his best friend getting traded? What do you fucking expect? I'm here for U.S. basketball. I'm talking about USA basketball. You don't want to fucking talk about DeMar because it hurts. You insensitive pieces of shit in the press corps coming at Kyle Lowry those questions like that. Just fuck you guys. Now, I will say I'm glad to hear all the interviews from the past Raptors. I feel like it was amazing that they got Kawhi Leonard for this series, and he actually came and talked about the championship series, and it was interesting to hear Kawhi's own words talking about different things from that time. Of course, I love Serge Ibaka. Of course, I love hearing from Norman Powell and different people from those years, Kyle Lowry, and even hearing from Jonas and DeMar about how they felt about the championship. It was nice. In some ways, I would say this, that championship, just like Dwayne Casey has said it, and it's true about him also, that championship is also DeMar's, Dwayne's, and Jonas's. They may not have been on the team currently when it happened, but they built that shit up to get to that point, and they deserve to have a little bit of the shine for the Toronto Raptors championship in 2019. And, man, you could feel the pain from Jonas. Think about Jonas. Jonas was on the team, and 2 months later, they won the championship. And he was on the team for 6.5 years before that. That's sad. That's awful. And in some ways, I still think that we should have gave a ring to Jonas Valanciunas in our championship year because he played that season. And other teams doing that shit. Why didn't we give one to Valanciunas, Masai? Y'all need to come around and give rings to CJ, DeLon, and Jonas still. And God damn it, if you could give one to DeMar, that'd be fucking great too. Seriously. Even though a lot of people say he didn't deserve it. He didn't earn it. That bullshit. Well, they didn't go in as heavy as I thought they would on the injuries with Kevin and Clay and saying, oh, the Raptors wouldn't have won if these guys had been there. They danced around it a little bit, but for the most part, they were respectful of the achievement of the 2019 Toronto Raptors winning the championship and showing it in the correct way. I love hearing that they're talking about how the anthem, when the anthem was sung, that was one of the most special moments in Raptors history. You know why? Because we sang the shit out of it and we sang it with our hearts. And I was one of those people belting out, "Oh, Canada," at the top of my lungs at game one of the finals in the 2019 championship run. And I'm just saying, you know, y'all did okay. This was the best episode of the 4, in my opinion, but it still pisses me off in different ways. I don't need to see Richard Petty's sorry ass telling me who he thinks the GOAT is because, motherfucker, you shouldn't have an opinion. You failure of a fucking executive running MLSE, you piece of shit, Richard Petty. You should go away and never be seen again because you're a fucking failure. And you, audacity of you saying that Vince Carter is the GOAT after you dropped the ball with his career here in Toronto, you fucking piece of shit, Richard Petty. Fuck you. 2-finger salute for you. 2-finger salute for you. And of course, Grange is going to say, I think Vince Carter is the GOAT. You know, it was interesting to see the division of who is the GOAT. And I don't even understand why y'all put this shit at the end of the episode. In some ways, you're trying to open up the conversation and make it a little bit more competitive between Vince Carter and Kyle Lowry. But no, it's already dead and done. We know who the GOAT is. It's Kyle Lowry. And Vince Carter lost that chance when he turned his back on the Toronto Raptors in 2004 and went to the Brooklyn Nets or New Jersey Nets at that time. So I would say this. I would say this right now. The people that said what they said in the GOAT part after this show, that listen to who said what. Sure, Muggsy, Kevin Willis, Antonio Davis, Tracy McGrady. They're going to all say Vince is the GOAT. Of course, they're all from that era. JYD. They're all going to say that, you know? But listen to what Matt Devlin said. Listen to what Chuck Swirsky said. Chuck Swirsky said the GOAT is DeMar DeRozan. And you know what? I'm getting more and more like this. I love Kyle. Kyle, you are the GOAT in most people's eyes. But I'm going to start a little movement. Forget about Vince being second. DeMar DeRozan, to me, I'm going to start promoting him as the GOAT. Even if he didn't win the championship, I'm going to be with Chuck because I like that Chuck said that. And Matt Devlin, who does he think the GOAT is? Well, the announcers should know the best, honestly. He thinks it's Kyle Lowry. Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, who do you think they think the GOAT is? Kyle Lowry. Yeah. Even somebody, all right, let's go back to the original Roy, Damon Stoudemire. What did he say for who he thinks the GOAT is? He thinks it's Kyle. Yeah. And well, let's go right on back to the announce crew and go to the broadcasting crew and look at our guy, second to none, 20, A-Dub, Boogie Williams. Yeah, who did he say? He played with Vince. He said he thinks the GOAT is Kyle. Yeah, we know the GROAT is Kyle. And even Vince said it himself. Vince came on there, they had him in that part too. And he said, when I talk to Kyle, I call him the GROAT, but he hates it. And I hate it when he calls me the GROAT back. Yeah. So Vince thinks that Kyle Lowry is the GROAT himself. So Sportsnet, Rogers, whatever you're fucking trying to stir up, Vince Carter himself doesn't even believe he's the greatest Raptor of all time. He thinks that Kyle Lowry is. So, yeah, whatever bullshit you're trying to stir up, you're trying to equalize things a little bit more for Vince on the playing field of the GROAT standings, backfired because the bona fide real ones can see exactly who it is. And who got the last word at the end of that episode anyway was Kyle Lowry. And did he say that he's ever called Vince Carter the GROAT? No, he didn't say that. He said, they've been calling me the GROAT. I like it. I like it. And that's what he said. And that was the last word of that episode in that series. How fitting that I watched the Raptors Delight Dark Side of the Raptors last episode on Kyle Lowry's 39th birthday. And in some ways, it's a celebration of Kyle Lowry, that whole episode. And in some ways, they talk about him being whiny and upset and angry about DeMar getting traded and not being really bought in the whole season. They didn't tell the whole story, and they didn't really kind of cover it exactly right, honestly. I thought they did a good job for the most part, telling us inside stuff about Kawhi and inside stuff about that season in different ways. Really, really valuable to hear Danny Green's point of view and other people. And they did break it down in different places. I love that they glossed over the Masai security thing and did not put that on blast and even talked about it, because in some ways that was awesome to not dark side the Raptors kind of bullshit that shit in the middle of it. Yeah, we all know the story about Masai and when we won the championship and the fucking racist ass security guard that Golden State had in the arena. Yeah, we know about that. And no reason to put that out there in that episode, because in some ways I love the way that they showed the championship and the celebrating without having to key on that little story and make it a part of the whole thing. So there were a couple of things they did right that they made good decisions on. And in some ways, they were trying to be more pro Raptors and for the fans in this episode, even if they were a little snarky in their bullshit with Game of Zones and their stupid ass narrator. So, yeah, most of the interview is fantastic. And the plethora of former Raptors that did this project for Raptors Delight is amazing. That's the strength of the whole entire series, is getting people like Kevin Willis, getting people like the JYD and, Danny Green, everybody involved to talk about it. Yeah, it was interesting that they got the photographers that talked about the pictures of Kawhi when he made the shot and the in-depth stuff about the call and all that kind of stuff. That there was some really good stuff about this episode. I'm not going to say it was, the other episodes, a lot of them really pissed me off. And I was just like, yeah, fuck this shit. This one I might actually watch again at some point, because it really did a good job for the most part covering our championship year. And I appreciate that they didn't fucking go past it. They didn't start talking about the pandemic. They didn't, they did talk about Kawhi leaving, and they were a little snarky about it. A little snarky about Kawhi leaving. Yeah. But other than that, for the most part, this one was pretty good. And I will recommend every Raptors fan should watch Raptors Delight at least once. But if you're like me and you get turned off by it, you have a bad taste in your mouth from some of the earlier episodes, I understand. This one they did pretty good, though. This one they did pretty good. So, yeah. Yeah, the GROAT debate at the end was a little, self-serving and a little bit kind of bullshit. But I want to say, I do like Vince more and more. Vince was very humble in this episode. And I like the fact that he just didn't come out arrogantly saying, I'm the greatest Raptor of all time, obviously. A lot of the old heads are going to say that they think it's Vince from that era. But a lot of the more current people that have been around the Raptors since the championship or before the championship, that era, is saying it's Kyle. It's Kyle. And I love that nobody said, yeah, we can't consider Kawhi for this. He's only here for 1 year, and he shouldn't be considered for this. Now, somebody in the episode did say they think that Vince Carter was the most talented, best Raptor ever as far as skill-wise. I don't believe that. I think Kawhi had a perfect season, and in some ways, he was the greatest, most talented Raptor ever. Vince may be the best dunker in the history of the NBA, but I don't think he was a better NBA player than Kawhi Leonard. I think Kawhi Leonard, the 1 year he played for the Raptors, was better than any of the years that Vince Carter played for the Raptors. Scotty, he could go above and beyond what Kawhi did, though. Seriously, he could. I could see it happening at some point in his career still. Yeah. All right. So there's my reaction to Raptors Delight Part 4, the championship. Yeah, I hate the narrator so much. I never ever want to hear his voice ever again, honestly. And then including Game of Zones was absolutely horse shit. Y'all shouldn't have put. It's like you know what it is, man. It's like doing a class project and you fucking just cheat and like steal stuff from other things and throw that in there. That creative energy for Game of Zones was for Bleacher Report and that time, and you dragging it out of the dark and putting it in our face on this episode in some ways is insulting. It's insulting to see our, it's always, I don't like how they treated DeMar and Jonas in this episode. Like they were just discards. You guys should have more respect for people like DeRozan and Jonas Valanciunas than what you fucking did. And Jakob Poeltl, honestly, in that last episode of Raptors Delight. Fuck you, Rogers, for your bullshit with Jakob Poeltl and that. And fuck you for your internet that sucks so bad at my house in the last week. Seriously, get your fucking shit fixed. We pay a lot on our bills. And y'all suck, Rogers Internet. You suck so bad. Speaking of Canada, y'all, I'd like to take a moment and talk to you about Canadian products. And today we're talking about Allen's. Allen's is a juice company. It's Canadian, 100% Canadian. When their juice comes from Canadian apples and cranberries and stuff. So if you need a juice alternative and you don't want to buy American, anything but American, Allen's is your company. Y'all may have known about Allen's already. I may be just condescendingly talking to you about something you already knew. But in case you didn't know, go and get Allen's. They're a Canadian juice company. There's some cranberry. There's some apple. Allen's. Your Canadian juice alternative. Sorry, I just had to do my buy Canadian moment. Don't buy no Tropicana. Don't buy no American brands. Buy Allen's. Allen Tam. Bam, son. There you go. All right, let's keep going. Smooth saying Bayern Munich is the club Alphonso Davies plays for. Well, I hope he gets healthy. I hope he does. Y'all told me this. He's like, oh no, he's out. Well, I don't know anything about it. I hope he gets healthy for Canada. That's right. MJ saying, sadly, Coloco and team agent made his bed. He needs to sleep in it. Whoa. I refuse to believe you, Lex, when you said he may end up with the Lakers. Well, he did. Watching him play garbage time was sad. Couldn't be impactful at all like he was with the Raptors. Well, it is what it is. So be it. I mean, I hate that I predicted he would be on the Lakers a year before it happened. And that sucked. I was like, man, if this bullshit with his medical situation ends up with some convoluted way that he ends up on the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm going to be pissed. And that's exactly what happened. So it's like, yeah, you watch the Raptor Freak channel, you may get some predictions ahead of time and then shit happens. Some ways I don't want to look at the things I'm predicting right now. I hate them. I don't want to see them right now. I don't want to see the things that I see. I really don't. And I'm not even talking about sports right now. All right, let's keep going. Fiercely saying, I always root for the underdogs except for Portland, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Utah. I'm glad Cade and the Pistons finally get a taste of the playoff atmosphere. That's an interesting list of teams that you don't root for, though, even though they're all underdogs for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for the Pistons. I historically have love for the Pistons. And in some ways, part of it's Casey. It's Casey and this, even though he's not the coach right now, he's the one who started getting them out of the mud and started moving them in this direction. And I like the legacy of Coach Dwayne Casey looking good as a development coach that helped teams get back to the playoffs. And he did that for the Raptors for sure. And he built our program with Kyle and DeMar. And well, in Detroit, even though he's been away from the team a couple of years now, and he's more in the front office, he had a big part in turning that Pistons franchise around to get the point where they are right now. They really did. He really, really did. So I'm happy for them, partly for Dwayne, and I'm also happy for them for Dennis, and I'm also happy for them because of my old allegiances to the Bad Boy Pistons. And in some ways, it's easier for me to get behind teams like the Magic and the Pistons more than other Eastern teams because there were times where I was a big fan of both those teams and rooting for both of them. Yeah, and those were in the 80s. That was when in the 90s, the early 90s before the Raptors existed, I was a Magic fan from like 89 to 95. That was my favorite team. So I have an old history with them. I have an old history of both those teams. Smooth saying Raptors, unless something crazy or shit happens, are locked into 7. Yeah, we're starting to have distance from the teams above us, where it's not really that close to Chicago or Miami. And we are still kind of close to Philly and Brooklyn, though, below us. And if we can fall below them, a lot of people would be happy. Not necessarily me, but a lot of people would be happy. Yeah. Most saying having Dan Richard Petty in the documentary was silly, etc. Yeah, he had nothing to do with this era. And they really just had him at the end for the Groat, like, chime in. I'm like, who gives a shit what you fucking think? And in some ways, it's insulting, Richard, that you think that Vince Carter is the greatest rapper of all time when you fumbled him, bro. You specifically fumbled him. Forget about Rob Babcock. I'm talking about the person who hired Rob Babcock to allow the ability to fumble Vince Carter, like what happened. And Richard, you're so stupid. You're saying I had no idea what he was going to do in his job or how bad he was. Well, why didn't you fucking stop him, you idiot? Why didn't you do anything about it? Or was that the plan because you're really fucking for the Leafs more in MLSE? And sabotaging the Raptors with Vince Carter was the plan behind the scenes the whole fucking time, you piece of shit, Richard Petty. Fuck you, Richard Petty. I hate him so much. I used to see him at work. He'd come by my stand, this fucking jackass. And look, looking good, guys. Looking good, looking good. I'm like, fuck you, Richard Petty. I felt like saying that then even. I've always hated that man. Always hated him. Jimmy's saying it would be hard for the Raptors to get past Philly and Brooklyn at this point. They are too shameless. I love that. Jimmy, I'm going to give you a dunk for that. I think they are shameless for this bullshit. At least we are doing something where we're building. And these motherfuckers ain't building shit with what they're trying to do with their teams right now. Seriously. Jimmy, that's your first dunk of the year. There you go. 3 points on the dunk chart for Jimmy right there. Yeah, I mean, have some shame, Nick Nurse. What the fuck are you doing with the Sixers? You had a crazy ass team that was supposed to go and win the championship this year with Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey. Well, look at where you're at now. How did this happen? This is crazy. It's crazy. Trevor wants the Instagram stories and the classic card. All right, let's do that real quick. Let's do Instagram stories first. We got Jonas first. It's in Lithuanian, so I don't know how to say what it says, but Jonas looks sad in the picture. I don't know what's going on there. Man, that was tough to hear Jonas say that in that Raptors Delight episode, saying, I was here for 6.5 years. This was my home. And then they traded me, man. I was disappointed. And then them talking about getting Marc Gasol and even adding in the whole part about we almost traded Lowry in that Memphis deal for Mike Conley. Like, why do you have to even put this shit in there? I feel like people at Rodgers hate Kyle Lowry. And I think specifically Michael Grange is one of them. And that they in some ways had to do snarky shit with Kyle Lowry in these episodes. Like they at sometimes they made Kyle look bad in some of this shit, tried to make him seem like he's a temper tantrum and he's a problem person with their bullshit and talking about his the time when he first came to the Raptors. I get it. He's not an easy person to deal with, but in some ways the dude's a badass and you should allow him to be who he is. And in some ways when we're remembering these events and stuff, why the fuck do you have to point out the personal defects of Kyle Lowry's personality? Like, why can't you just talk about Kyle Lowry was a great man who willed his team to victories and did great things as a leader on the team? Do you have to point out that he had temper tantrums? Do you have to point out that he didn't want to talk to the press because they asked stupid-ass questions? That just seems like a personal axe to grind by Michael Grange and the Rodgers reporters and their stupid-ass shit. So it's like, have more respect for Kyle Lowry, motherfuckers, is what I'm telling y'all at Rogers Sportsnet. How about that? How about that? Game day. That's right. We got a game in a half an hour, y'all. So I need to wrap it up. We're playing the Long Island Nets. That's on the Instagram stories for Raptors 905. Jamal Shedd's putting Marcus Sasser on blast for a 27-point game, 9 of 12 shooting, 5 of 7 from 3. Marcus Sasser for the Pistons. That's right. Emmanuel Quickley, there he is. Monique was talking about it. There he is at his speaking at his event. Amazing event at John Carroll High School in Bel Air today as Emmanuel Quickley launches the Emmanuel Quickley Foundation, providing up to 5 scholarships to his alma mater. Good job, Emmanuel. Great public speaking. Really was honored to run into you the other day after the game in the hallway. There he is taking a picture of the outside of Madison Square Garden. Sometimes I wonder about how much Quick misses playing for the Knicks. And this is the kind of shit that makes me wonder about it even more. Yeah, we're not playing at Madison Square Garden today. We're playing at Barclays Center. But Emmanuel finds his way down near the MSG and takes a picture there. There he is on the court, dribbling right there. Toronto Tempo president, Teresa Resch, got some pictures taken by Mary Trong, and she's got some new pictures. Thanks for making me look my best. Love to see that. And they got a new ad out for WNBA in Canada, the home of the WNBA in Canada, and they've got some of the Canadian players and the stars of the WNBA in the picture. And then also we're seeing the Toronto Tempo logo with WNBA teams for the season, even though they're not starting. I feel like, why couldn't we do this, Teresa? Why couldn't we hurry up and just hurry up into the league season this year? I know there's a lot of stuff like season tickets, sales, and merchandise getting it together, but I feel like y'all could have had everything prepared in the 6 months since you announced the team name to be able to compete in this season. But I guess because you weren't in the expansion draft, you don't have a player, you don't have a coach even, that is too soon. Because in some ways, y'all should have been starting this year. And in some ways, I blame Ed Rogers for this. I really do. Let's see. Yeah, they had a breakfast forum that Teresa was at. Scotty has some interesting stuff. He was out shopping yesterday, and he went somewhere that said "make noise, not clothes." Now, Scotty's so funny, man. Scotty did something to Jonathan yesterday, which is hilarious, y'all. Scotty went to get some pizza at Nolita Pizza in New York. So he was out and about in the city in New York. He went to Supreme store. He loves the brand Supreme, and he went to the Supreme store, of course. And then there's like some big baby that he took a picture of, a big baby or something like that. Well, Scotty had it in his Instagram. I don't know where it is now, but Jonathan's got it here. Scotty made Jonathan Mobo carry his bags yesterday while he was out shopping. And there's a video of Jonathan carrying his shopping bags. And he say, "Way to hold my bags, Rook. Good looking out." And he's filming it. And Jonathan turns to him and says, "Stop trolling me, bro." And well, Jonathan's doing rookie duties. This is actually pretty funny that Scotty made Jonathan do this yesterday, because we asked him last summer on the very few Twitch appearances that Scotty made last summer. He made like 3 or 4. I got a chance to ask him specifically this question. I said, "Scotty, are you going to make these new rookies do anything like rookie tasks for the season?" And, people have been talking about like, "Oh, they used to make me bring cards every time. That was my rookie task." We've seen on the Lakers show that Magic used to have to bring Kareem orange juice in his newspaper. There's always rookie duties. And I asked Scott this specifically because I know his friendship with Jonathan Mobo is special. What are you going to make Jonathan do? And he was like, I don't really know. What should I make him do, fam? Is what he asked. He's like, what should I do, Twitch family? What should I make the rookies do this year? Well, he's making him do something. He made him carry his shopping bags, which is funny. Jonathan wasn't totally pleased with it. Not totally pleased with it. But Scotty, you got to do this. He's only a rookie for this year, and it's right for you to do this kind of shit. That's just part of the rite of passage. So I love it. I love it. That's good stuff, man. Let's see. Jack Armstrong's at the Brooklyn Bridge. He's got a picture of himself out there running in New York, back home in his home borough of Brooklyn. He looks so happy next to the Brooklyn Bridge. And he's saying happy birthday to Kyle Lowry. There was a huge outpouring of love for Kyle Lowry on his birthday yesterday. So much love. In fact, you could count all the Instagram posts on Kyle Lowry's Instagram and look and see which ones had him in Philadelphia jersey and how many of them had him in his championship Raptors GROAT jerseys. There's him in Villanova, and there's him in a Sixer jersey. There's at least one Raptors one. There's him playing golf. Yeah, there's so many pictures of him as the GROAT, and everybody's saying happy birthday to the GROAT, the greatest Raptor of all time. And most of these are in Raptors and championship pictures. So I love that Kyle's getting the love from Toronto. And, man, such a lot of love. He got love from his Miami Heat teammates, too, Udonis Haslem and Bam Adebayo also. So, yeah, he got the love on his 39th birthday yesterday. Kyle, come play for us next year. Seriously. Come back and play for Toronto next year. GROAT. Circle back and be the greatest Raptor of all time. It would be so epic. Kyle Lowry plays for the Toronto Raptors, and he's had a street named after him for a few years in the city, and he's currently playing for the team. That would be badass, Kyle. Think about that. You come back to Toronto, play in the city, you already got a street named after you here. And in some ways, you're already the GROAT, my guy. So let's do it. Let's come on back. Okay, there is a signing, guys. This just happened in the last 6 minutes. It's official that Cole Swider is the latest 10-day contract. Colin Castleton is out, and we have taken the shooter, Cole Swider. I remember him. I've seen him play a couple teams, so we have a new player. The Raptors official admin announcing this 6 minutes ago. 10-day contract to Cole Swider. Breaking news right there. Let's see. There's Scotty with Jonathan on the street carrying his bags. Hilarious. Y'all be trolling. You're trolling me, man. Hold my bags, Rook. Good looking out, my guy. Come on now. Siakam's out driving at night on his Instagram. Kelly Olynyk throwing lobs to people in New Orleans. Let's see. Lindsey Dunn had a nice interview with Emmanuel that Monique had brought up earlier. And yeah, there's the Toronto Tempo being put on blast at that breakfast the other day. So there's your Instagram stories for today. Breaking news. Cole Swider is the latest 10-day contract for the Raptors. Colin Castleton is out. That's it right there. Yeah. Blackhawks saying Benny was like Mel Brooks to me, just comical. He was a genius. And a lot of it was the clown of his face. Benny Hill had such a funny caricature. He was bigger than life. He was like a cartoon character in real life. And his sense of humor was really, some of it was childish and perverted, but some of it was really genius. And the situations that he built and stuff like that were funny. Really, really good stuff. He's timeless too. And the other thing is he goes across all languages around the world. People watch Benny Hill around the world and they enjoyed him. The comedy translated. Let's just put it that way. The comedy translated. Trevor J saying that can be dangerous for the Sixers to lose the pick to a team who already is good. And then OKC will come to the team to come to the team hard to beat. What? Oklahoma City, yeah. I mean, that's the conundrum. You either you're punitive towards the Sixers or you really help a team that's like the best team in the league by giving them a very top pick. Reggie saying Rudy Gay talking about Toronto. He said they have corny ass accents. Yeah, Rudy Gay doubling down after the Thad Young comments and his bullshit. Now he kind of was trying to make up for some of the shit he said. Like he said, I don't even understand why they don't like me there because I just got traded from them and everybody treats me like trash from Toronto. You dumbass motherfucker. It's because you came out and said nobody wants to play for Toronto in the last couple of years. That's why we hate you, because you're an idiot. And you can't see this. And you didn't respect fucking playing for the Raptors correctly. You did not, Rudy Gay. It's not anything to do with you getting traded. We were happy you got traded because the trade worked out really well and we got better as soon as you left. But let's not get this twisted. And he's still coming on. He doubles down. He said, yeah, I don't know why. I like Toronto. I like the city. It's great. He's in some ways, he's trying to come back and be a little bit more diplomatic. But at the same time, he's doubling down on all the same bullshit that Thaddeus said last week about customs. And he's lying too. Like he said, I got traded to Sacramento and my stuff was held up in customs for months. No, it wasn't, Rudy Gay, you dumbass. And anyway, what the fuck are y'all moving across the border that customs is such a huge problem for NBA players? I mean, I get it. Maybe you're bringing furniture over. Why don't you just buy that shit in Canada and leave it in Canada? Why the fuck do you need why don't you ask Dennis Schroeder how he handles moving around all over the league? I'll bet you he could give you some pointers on how to do this shit. Plus, he's doing international shit from Germany to fucking North America. So, Rudy Gay, whatever your idiot problem is, if you tell me, oh, my friends couldn't come here, well, maybe your friends shouldn't be felons. Maybe that's part of the problem why your friends couldn't come to Canada and see you play. Because Canada has rules against criminals coming here. I'm not saying that's for sure. Oh, maybe your family should get some passports, motherfucker. Then they can come see you play in Canada. And the whole talk about, oh, you got to go through customs every time you go on the road. Motherfuckers, you should be good at it by now. Seriously, you should understand exactly what they're looking for and breeze through that shit. Are y'all fucking buying chinchillas? Are y'all buying fucking weird ass shit on road trips in the NBA? And the customs is taking you aside and say, why are you buying chinchillas, Rudy Gay? You can't bring these small animals into Canada. I'm sorry. Is that the kind of bullshit is why y'all have a problem with customs? Because you're buying unreasonable shit and trying to bring it across the border? And that's your problem with customs? I feel like that's the problem with customs. I go through customs. Shit, you go buy a pack of cigarettes. Go buy some fucking liquor. Duty free. Just declare that shit and go through. What the fuck are you complaining about? Seriously. And Rudy Gay, you're lying when you say that they held up your shit for 6 months and when you moved from Canada to Sacramento. You're lying when you say that. The Customs ain't holding your shit for that long. They don't want your shit. Seriously, what is this bullshit? That's lying about Customs. Lying about Customs. This is what I'm saying right now. I can't believe some of the shit Rudy Gay says. Just shut up while you're ahead. In some ways, yes, you were a little bit more diplomatic in this one. You came out and said, no, I do love Toronto. It's fun. It's a good city. I enjoy being there. But you also still doubled down on Thaddeus' shit with your dumbass recent comments just in the last couple of days. What? Because he comes out and he starts talking about this subject. You have to feel like you have to chime back in, Rudy Gay, just because Thaddeus had something to say last week. Now you got to come back and show your ass again. Just shut up, Rudy. Don't talk about Canada then. If you want to, you can try and fix things with us. But in some ways, you need to just shut up because you're hurting yourself every time you open your mouth, is what I'm saying right now. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why these guys have such a problem with Customs over and over again. Customs. Oh, my gosh, Customs. It's not like y'all were out in the public with the general population in Customs. And, you know, half the shit you get done, it's so easy. I don't believe these guys when they say Customs is such a headache. I seriously don't. Reggie's saying he also said he doesn't know why he's being hated on. He didn't ask to be traded to the Raptors. He didn't ask to be traded to the Raptors, and he didn't ask to be traded from the Raptors. And whatever. He said that bullshit. You know what? It's just because, you know what? You talked out of your ass in recent years. You made a joke about who the fuck would ever want to play for the Raptors. So, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? I think you're just a low IQ individual, Rudy Gay, if you cannot figure out why people in Canada don't like you anymore because you said stupid shit like this. Seriously. So we're saying the Bulls have the 10th pick, right? I think that's about right. It doesn't happen to be exactly. We'll see how the lottery balls come down. If it drops to 11, it goes to the Spurs. So if they fall down, they go to the Spurs from the Bulls. Interesting. Stargate saying, and believe you me, they will have an agenda after they see the viewership numbers at the end of the season, especially if it's Cleveland, Oklahoma City final. Oh, the advertisers will want to fix real fast. Once again, if the capitalism and corporatism is going to ruin everything in the world, I don't want to see it ruin the NBA's competition. I don't think there should be any problem with the Cavs being against the Thunder in the finals. If they railroad some other big market team to be there, well, in some ways we'll see that script writing and we could call it out. So what I'm going to say this is the NBA needs to be a pure competition still. I know it's sports entertainment, and in some ways it is along the lines of WWE. And they do want certain things to happen in certain ways, and they will manipulate it. But it doesn't serve them to lean into that and have that kind of energy so exposed and easy to decipher. Because that makes me think the NBA is a waste of fucking time if it's a bunch of script writing. So they need to have a pure competition and allow these teams just to play the way that they're supposed to and let the best team win. And I don't give a shit if that team is from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. There's a small-ass town, not from anywhere in some ways, is what I'm saying. Y'all limit the comments because I do need to leave in the next 20 minutes because the Raptors 905 are going to be playing. Let's see. Neil saying Adam Silver put all teams in the playoffs and add a wild card from the first MD and the second MD. What the fuck is that? Oh, that's round? Okay, I can't read that. Just write round out. There's only 2 more letters, man. Smooth saying, I respect DeMar, but I can't forget how he shriveled against LeBron, man. That's not the way to describe this. You know, and fuck that. That's not what I remember for him. Everybody shriveled against LeBron. It's not just specifically DeMar. And once again, we have to remember those years when we faced off in the playoffs, the regular season, they were getting run to the ground. And Thibodeau, nurse style. Dwayne Casey overplayed Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan during the regular season. We talked about this a lot as a Raptors nation in those years, saying that Casey's got to rest these guys at the end of the year so that they can play worth of shit in the playoffs. Because what was happening is we'd get a really good regular season record. We'd kick so much ass during the season, but when the playoffs came around, the uptick in energy, the guys, the main guys, were not able to do it. So I don't know who's calling. I'm going to ignore that. But yeah, the main guys were not able to do it because they were tired. So I don't like this disrespect. He's saying that he shriveled against them. No, they were overworked the whole entire season by Casey. And when the playoffs came, they just couldn't, they didn't have nothing in the tank. And that's it. And Kyle was funny when Kyle was saying, yeah, I played horrible against Orlando in game 1 of the series in 2019. I wasn't ready. Yeah, but that's normal for me. He said that that's normal for me coming into the playoffs. I'm not good right away. Yeah, Kyle Lowry is the man always. Well, let's all agree to disagree in some ways. I'm going to start promoting DeMar as the GOAT soon. And Kyle won't be upset about that. In fact, he'd be very happy that some people are pushing DeMar as the GOAT. I just feel like it's a nice alternative. Some people are going to start bringing up Vince Carter in the argument. I'm going to bring up DeMar first, and that's why I'm doing it. Stargate saying it's smooth. The lottery isn't happened yet. The seed you finish in the end of the season is not your draft position, sir. They know that. They know that. I know that when you say the 10th pick or the 7th pick, that's not exactly necessarily where we're going to land. They know that too. We don't have to Raptors delight Reggie on this. He knows this. He knows this. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying, as bad as the optics of that trade was, DeMar and Kawhi winning the chip, perfect season, best trade ever. Well, it was a real gamble, and they really did kind of like play that up a little bit on that Raptors delay, talking about how, well, if this doesn't happen the way it's supposed to, it's going to look really bad, especially because it's likely Kawhi will not return for another season, which was true, even though we won the championship, and he's an idiot for it. I did like the comment by Serge with his anger and kind of like, why wouldn't you come back, Kawhi? You left the second championship for us out by leaving and going to the Clippers. And Serge saying that in the episode is powerful because it's true. And Kawhi probably knows it's true at this point too, even though he didn't think it was. Most giving me a W stream. Go Raptors for life. Geeb at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Screw strong forever. Just helping Lex limit the comments. And I really do want the limit right now because we got to finish up. Yeah. Let's see. Don't worry about. I'm going to skip the stuff with Stargate and Smooth about this. We understand what's going on. Blackhawks saying, man, it's snowing heavily in Brampton right now. I know for 3 straight days I've woken up with fresh snow on the ground. And I'm not happy about it. This yard's covered with snow right now again. And I wish it'd just melt and go away. That's right. Smith saying, as of now, it's 10 or not, regardless of the rules are. That's the point of my questions. Well, people can use the position in the standings as a guide for where the most likely place you're going to be in the draft lottery. But I understand Stargate's point also saying, like, that's not where we're going to land because the ping pong balls will determine it the day of the draft lottery. No, I get it. And in some ways, this is very elementary stuff. We all get this. We all get this. Kaloy saying, breaking, we signed Cole Swider to the 10-day. That's right. So no Colin Castleton. Cole Swider, he's a 3-point specialist, is from what I remember. Let's see. Yes, Stargate, I'm not going to do this anymore. Yeah, Castleton is gone officially for right now. But I could see him back next year. That's what I'm going to say right there. Yeah, Neil saying Michael Grange can suck a eggplant. And Stargate saying it's just your wording then, I guess. Yeah, no, don't worry about this. You're being a stickler, Stargate. We know what Reggie means, and we know that he doesn't think what you think he thinks. He understands the situation. He does. He does. Wayne saying, morning, Raptor Freaks. Let's go Raps. All right, let's do the classic card. I got 12 minutes to finish up the show before the Raptors 9:05 tip off. And we want to do that in the next 12 minutes. So let's see. All right, here we go. Classic card. First person to write the full name answer will get the classic card. This one's kind of easy, honestly. If you ask me, who's that in the background? Is that Clarence Weatherspoon once again? He's always in the background on cards. Clarence Weatherspoon. That'll give you the time. Well, the sun is in his eyes. Wow, look at that. Isaac knew. He must have known. He knew something. It is a former dunk champion, Cedric Ceballos. Who was that blindfolded man that could see through his blindfold? You can't even really see his face because the light is right in his face. But it is Ceballos. The Slug DZ, I see you got it too. James was saying Leandro Barboza, the Brazilian blur, which is not a bad answer. But it is Ceballos. Cedric Ceballos. That's right. There you go, Isaac. Yeah, there you go. I love it. 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 All right, let me see. Isaac Campbell, you're going to get 100 points on your for that one. Cedric Ceballos. I like seeing Isaac getting in there and getting a classic card. He gets them every once in a while. And it's good to see Isaac coming in and getting just 100-point one. Cedric's pretty well known. Pretty well known. You're late. Oh, snap. You're late. Yeah, you got to hit that live button, Stargate. Because people jump in there on there, right there. Yeah. Let's see what else you guys are saying real quick as we wrap up the stream right now. Trevor's saying, Lex, Raptors stay in Manhattan. It's close to Brooklyn Bridge, so they take the train to the Barclays Center. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I get that Jack Armstrong's going to be near his old borough in Brooklyn. He probably might even have family there that he stays with. He doesn't even stay in a hotel. He might stay with family. And of course, I understand that like IQ going to Madison Square Garden is not that far. It's all in the same city. I just think it's very telling in some ways that it quickly is reminiscing about his Knicks days and showing a picture of Madison Square Garden on his Instagram right now. In some ways, that may be him giving a nod to his old fans from Knicks Nation that he hasn't forgotten them. And I don't think that's bad. It doesn't threaten me. It doesn't make me upset or anything. It's just that, quickly has nostalgia. He has nostalgia, is what I'm saying on that. Yeah, on this quick man. There you go. There you go. Isaac's saying, God damn, I'm busy just checking in. You guys rule. There you go. Isaac got Cedric Sabalos right away. Talk to you later. He just comes in, gets the classic car, and leaves. Look at Isaac. Look at Isaac there. Wow, that's funny. It's like Deezy saying, wasn't sure about the last name spelling. Well, if you got it mostly right, I would have allowed it. Sabalos was in the hospital for a while, very sick. Hopefully he's well now. Yeah, he was an interesting player because that dunk contest win was very gimmicky. You could see through that blindfold. We knew that. You could see through that blindfold. But the thing about Cedric was he was a very good player for a while there. He was a pretty high scorer. Like he was averaging over 20 points for the Suns. And then he went to the Lakers for a little while in his career. He wasn't a bad player at all. Cedric Sabalos was very entertaining to watch. He was exciting to watch. He had hops, and he was a very gifted scorer, and he was enjoyable to watch. So we were remembering Cedric in his career a little bit there. Yeah, I hope he's doing very well health-wise right now. All right, we got 9 minutes to go. Let me see. I'm going to go check in with Raptors Reddit. They're saying happy birthday to Kyle Lowry with a big picture of his butt right in front of it on Raptors Reddit. There's the Cole Swider signing, guys. I forget what team Cole Swider was on last. Let me go look at Cole Swider's Wikipedia real quick, and we'll do a real quick update on him real quick. I do remember him from playing against the Raptors 905 this season. He was on the South Bay Lakers most recently, playing with Bronny. He's a power forward, small forward, and he's 25 years old. He's from Rhode Island. He's 6'8", 220 pounds. I remember him being a pretty good three-point shooter. He's been in the league for a while. He was undrafted in 2022. He's played for the Lakers, the Heat, the Pistons, and most recently for the South Bay Lakers. So, yeah, and now he's on the Raptors. And as I said, he's a career 38% three-point shooter. So he's a pretty good three-point shooter as far as in the NBA, he's a 30% three-point shooter. In his college, he was 38%. So we'll have to see how Cole does. He's a forward. We'll see if he's available tonight against the Nets, or he's going to play today at 11 in about 10 minutes. So we'll have to see. All right, let's see. What else do we have? We have birthdays today. We're going to say a happy birthday to Justice Winslow today. It's Justice Winslow's 29th birthday. Happy 29th birthday, Justice Winslow. And also, let's say happy birthday to Wayne Embry, guys. Wayne Embry, the great Wayne Embry is 88 today, guys. Happy 88th birthday to Wayne Embry, the longtime advisor for the Raptors for like 25 years now. He's been in the Raptors front office helping guide people like Glenn Grunwald, Brian Colangelo, and Masai Ujiri. We appreciate Wayne Embry, the great NBA legend, as a player who played back in the day, also as a GM for the Cleveland Cavaliers for a long time, and then coming to the Raptors in the last 25 years and being an advisor, a senior advisor for our team. He has been absolutely a very crucial, important person in the leadership of the Raptors over the last quarter century. So, yeah, thank you, Wayne Embry. Happy 88th birthday to him. There you go. All right, let's do the rundown real quick, guys. Our injuries for tonight for the Raptors. Chris Boucher is out because he's still sick. Grady's out. Brandon Ingram's out. Ulrich Shamshe's out. Emmanuel and Jakob will be out for rest. RJ is back. I'm speculating that the starting lineup will be Jamal Shed, Ochai Agbaji, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Orlando Robinson. Now Cole Swider is on the depth chart on this list now. So Castleton is out. Cole Swider is in. On the other side of things with the Nets, both the Camerons are out. Cam Thomas is out for the rest of the season. Day'Ron Sharpe is out due to a right knee sprain. And Cameron Johnson is taking a rest day today and will not be playing the Raptors today. I'm speculating their starting lineup will be D'Angelo Russell, Keon Johnson, Zaire Williams, Noah Clowney, and Nick Claxton is who I think they might start for the Nets tonight. We have a 57% chance to win, according to ESPN's matchup predictor. The referees for the G League game about to start in 5 minutes: Charles Watson, AJ Ganelli, and Bobby Bazant III. For the Raptors game later tonight, our crew chief is Mark Lindsay. He favors the Raptors. Fantasy Ransom is the referee. He favors the Nets. And Jonathan Sterling is the umpire. He favors the Raptors also. So not a bad ref crew for the Raptors tonight. So watch out for Kevin O'Banner and Killian Hayes and also Drew Timme in 5 minutes on YouTube. We're going to have that game starting very, very soon. Let's see. Is there anything else that we want to wrap up talking about real quick? Let me just see. They're going to have the news on here. The Raptors, Doug Smith saying the Raptors have subbed out Colin Castleton, whose second 10-day deal expired with 6'8" forward Cole Schweider, a 44% three-point shooter in the G League. Schweider's had a couple of NBA stints. The shooting has yet to translate to the NBA, though. So there you go. Blake Murphy saying that the Raptors 9:05 will start Jared Rhoden, Evan Gilliard, Quincy Guerrier, Eugenio Maroy, and Lacey James in their game that's about to start in the next couple minutes. So we got to be ready. Yeah, everybody's announcing the Colin Castleton has been dropped, and Cole Schweider is the new player for our Raptors team right now. All right, there's the birthdays, and y'all check out the Kensington Variety VIP Club show. And if you have your fantasy team, check on it also. There's some good matchups going so far in the playoffs with our Raptors Yahoo Fantasy Basketball League. So, yeah, that's it for the Raptors stream today, Raptor Freak stream. Let's get out of here. And I'll see y'all on the YouTube chat maybe in the next 5 minutes. We'll talk about what's going on with the 905 in their second to last game right now. Yeah. Stargate saying Cole Schweider looks a little like the actor Sam Whitmer for all you Star Wars fans. Okay. Motor City 2, Lex. He played on Motor City. Yeah, well, he was on Detroit. I just said in general he was on Detroit. And that means he's on both. Anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all watching. Let's go Raptors. We'll see if we win today. It could be very much a double L day today, but it could be a double W also. We'll just have to see how it goes. We'll watch the early game right now. Let's go Raptors. Let's go 905. And remember, y'all, for your Canadian juice needs, Allen's apple juice, cranberry juice is Canadian. Don't be buying American products. Buy Canadian, and Allen's is your juice, Canadian juice. That's right. Let's go Canada. Let's go Raptors.